Yes.
What happens if you don't get the approval within the 30 or the 60 days?
I can only tell you about the way I handled it. There was one plan that went on for almost 3 years from the time I went to town planning. And they lost the plan twice. And eventually I was so frustrated, and the owner was frustrated because he needed to start building. So I just wrote to the building control officer, and I quoted the timeline and quoted the whole event, and simply said that I will send my my builders on site on a certain date. And you do what you have to. I instructed the owner, and the owner, or not instructed, but we discussed it with the owner, and the owner was happy. They can take us to court. That's what, and surprisingly, the plan got approved within 3 days after the letter. So, Michael, looked like you wanted to say something? No.
I'm from Cape Town. How do you handle buildings that are done for public works, where you need courtesy approval, and the municipality then tells you, yes, they can look at it, you don't have to pay the fees, but they can't give you an occupation certificate.
Well, that looks like a municipal problem. Because I don't know much about this topic. I know it's going to change in future. With the amended new national building regulations, every building, so even a shack, has to go for plan approval, by the way. Yes. They're redefining what a building is. All government works are included. If you'll remember, there's one exclusion at the moment, or one major exclusion: all mining works are excluded from the NBR, and government work. That whole clause is being removed. But currently, if you don't have an occupation certificate, you need to almost force your hand, because the law says you can't occupy the building. So is the building inspector telling you that you cannot occupy the building? Is that what they're telling you? So you need to force your hand and say, councillor, take it to council level, because they, the local authority, which is council level, supposed to be doing this.
I wonder if you could just talk about the beneficial occupation, where you can get occupation even though you don't need the full gambit of all the compliances.
Section, I think it's section 14. I've got the actual, but I'm going to flip over. I think it's section 14 or section 7. Says that you can apply to use or occupy the building before your occupation certificate. But you apply. Just say there was a condition that you couldn't meet, and it's going to take you 6 months to meet that, or 3 months or whatever, to meet that obligation. In the interim, you can apply to the local authority and say, yes, I know, and we're working on it. Can you please give us a beneficial occupation? And they will give you a beneficial occupation. Usually, you really need to negotiate with the building inspector, but they can give you this on condition. So it has a time limit and it has conditions. Okay? Anyone else?
Do banks give loans on houses? Do they, if there are no approved plans, or even an alteration, you know?
Okay, I'm not from the banking sector, but I can just talk about my own experiences. Yes, you can do a pre-approval bond based on a sketch and some codes. It's a pre-approval. To to actually register the bond, you need to have an approved plan.
I've come across so many instances where on residential houses that they've changed hands completely and there are no approved plans on alterations.
Okay, I didn't speak about that earlier on, but since you brought up the topic, it's a bit of a contentious one. And it affects owners so badly. I don't know, I can see some people shaking their heads so they know what I'm talking about. How can the estate agent, the owner who knows, even if he's claiming ignorance, and the the local authority issue a rates clearance certificate and allow a house to get sold when it doesn't comply? That's the critical question. And then 3 months after the owners have changed hands, the building inspector comes and knocks on the door. Oh, sorry, you're occupying this house illegally. I know of a case at the moment where it was like a 7 million rand house, and the owner is suing combinedly the local authority, the estate agent, and the previous owner. What I believe, I haven't read the laws yet, what I believe has happened is that the estate agents a while ago complained and got the law changed that you don't need somehow they got the law changed. I haven't read it, but it's like there was a loophole. But as Cybert, maybe it's something we need to do and look for that loophole and put a plug in that loophole. Because I know owners have bought houses and suddenly are in for 150, 200,000 rand or demolish part of the building. And my advice is directly to the client, sue. Sue the estate agent, sue the owner, sue the municipality.
In the science regulations now, there's a new category 1 building. If you 80 square meters, single story, but it doesn't have to comply with any.
No, I don't agree with you. Category 1 building must comply. It complies, it has to comply with a lower standard. The standard is lower. For example, walls and water penetration. On a category 1 building, it must still prevent water penetration, but to a lower level. Yes. For fire, category 1 buildings, the requirements are lower, but it is there. There are requirements. Energy efficiency, category 1 building must comply. Even no.
I think it was one way to legitimize all these RDP houses.
Maybe yes, and that's where I actually looked at it. But what I can say is that I hate block personally because I also build. It's my pet hate. CMUs, concrete masonry units or blocks or whatever you call them. They were not designed to be built as structural elements. If you use it as a structural element, it's actually more expensive than conventional brick. There are standards that tell you how to use CMUs as a structure. The old NHBRC, the new Part K. If you actually follow it, but that's another whole topic. Coming back to you. The category 1 building must comply with Part K. Part K tells you how to build a block wall. Yet I know builders were doing it. You know, reinforcing and concrete around the door frames and the ring beam and stuff. They weren't doing it. That's what the problem is. But category 1 buildings must comply with it. So if the borough is overlooking it, there's something wrong with the borough. Okay?
How do we educate the building inspectors in regards to the SARCA and Saga and to the VA and also the ITC.
Thanks for the question. I don't think everyone heard it. The question was, how do we educate the BCO with regards to the ITC certificate and the SAGA certificate? Yes, Cybert is, and I'm going to start writing a whole lot of critical questions to the local authority, to the borough, or to the BCO. But you as individuals, advise your clients if you're not involved in the process. The building inspector must come and do the inspection. Insist on it. And that's why I said earlier on in my talk, when that letter comes and that letter says, provide me a SAGA certificate and provide me an ITC certificate, all you do is write back and say, show me where in the National Building Regulations it's mandated that I provide you this. Until the time he actually shows you that, he can't ask for it. Anyone else, people? We have 4 minutes more. Anyone else? No takers. Mr. Vitraj. He's disappeared. You want to say anything? You're fine. Okay. I hope you, I know you're not here representing the council, but I hope you've seen the problems and the issues that we talk about and take it back to, in your informal discussions, take it back. So, Creason? Okay. And thank you for coming. Anyone else?